Hello and welcome to another GCSE revision video, and in this video we're going to be looking at adding vectors. Now to add vectors, just add the tail of one vector to the head of another. And this is equivalent to simply adding the components of the vector. The end result is going to be the same. Okay, so why don't we have a little practice with this. Pause the video, have a think about it, and when you're ready for the answer, just press play. Okay, well, when adding the arrows, we just add the tail of the one vector to the head of the other vector, and then we can just join them together. When adding the components, it's a simple case of adding the components. 2 plus 7 is 9, and 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, let's try another example. Why don't you have a look at this one, pause the video, when you're ready for the answer, just press play. Again, to add the arrows, we just stick the tail of one arrow on the head of the other. And when we're adding the components, 9 plus 3 is 12, and 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, let's try this example. Have a think about it, pause the video. When you're ready for the answer, just press play. Again, with the arrows, we just stick the tail of one arrow onto the head of the other. And when we're adding the components, 7 plus 3 is 10, 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Take your time, pause the video. When you're ready for the answer, just press play. Okay, how did you get on with that? Right, so we just stick the tail of one vector onto the head of the other, and when adding the components, 2 plus 10 is 12, and 3 plus 7 is 10. This isn't actually a coincidence. When adding 3 or more vectors, it doesn't matter which you add first. The associative property of addition applies just as much to vectors as it does to scalars. So adding A and B first and then adding C is the same as adding A to the combination of B and C. Okay, let's have a look at another example. Take your time, pause the video. When you're ready for the answer, just press play. Again, adding the arrows is just a simple case of sticking the tail of one arrow onto the head of the other. And adding the components is just a case of adding the components. So negative 3 plus 5 is 2, and 5 plus 5 is 10. Okay, how about this one? Take your time, pause the video. When you're ready for the answer, just press play. Again, all we're doing with the arrows is sticking the tail of one vector onto the head of the other. And 5 plus negative 3 is 2, and 5 plus 5 is 10. Again, this is not a coincidence. Addition of vectors is commutative, just like the addition of scalars. In other words, it doesn't matter which way round you add the vectors, the result is the same. So A plus B is the same as B plus A, and that applies just as much to vectors as it does for scalar variables. And that's all there is to it with regard to the addition of vectors. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Comment especially if you have any suggestions as to other videos that you would really like to see me make, which are GCSE maths related. If you're taking your GCSEs, I'd like to wish you all the best with your revision and all the best with your exams, especially if you're taking them this year. And I'll look forward to seeing you in another video.